What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, continuing with this news train for today and catching up with some Vandread. So this is a zombie archetype. I've never heard of it before now. Sorry, I'm not up on my Vendread archetype knowledge, but I'm going to go over the 3 new cards, every other card that's ever existed in the archetype, and then I'll give my final opinions. Going on into the first one, this is Scarvandrin. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Vandread spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Obviously very good. If a monster on the field is tributed while this card is in your hand or in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other zombie monster from your graveyard, special summon this card, and if you do, you cannot special summon monsters except Vendread monsters. Interesting. I thought I was going to say zombie monsters. While this card is face up in the monster zone, you can only use each effect of this card once per turn, which is fine because you can link it off, right? Pretty easily. You're not summoning this, like normal summoning this. This isn't a play starter, but luckily, I'm guessing you can just Foolish Burial this, which is pretty interesting. If a monster in the field is tributed while this card is in your graveyard. So, I mean, you can do some pretty cool stuff here. It's kind of interesting. Like, I feel like you rarely see cards like this. Normally, like, all these new cards say upon special summon, but this is when it's sent to the graveyard. And I'm sure there's a plethora of ways to do that. So, off to a good start. Being able to just add spells and traps when there's Foolish Burial is obviously a very good effect. This is the new Ritual monster, so this is a Ritual deck. You can Ritual summon this card with any Vandread Ritual spell. During the main phase, quick effect, you contribute 1 zombie monster. This card gains attack equal to the tributed monster's original attack until the end of this turn, which is funny because the Rico spell just came out, so anytime the word zombie is associated with your deck, you're playing Zombie World, of course. So you get to tribute your opponent's monsters, which is great. If you control a Vendread Slayer, and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So which one is Slayer? We'll jump over to that one real quick. Battle Lord. Here's Slayer. Once per battle, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish 1 zombie monster in your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand. Send 1 Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. I mean, that's pretty good because you get to dump this, which adds the ritual spell or any of your spells and traps, right? So this card becomes playable now. I mean, it goes up to 2,700 attack. It's like, now you could send this away for link material, which is good, and I'll take this. The Vandread Ritual card, or the Link card, is very good. I played against a zombie player, and I was shocked that this card even existed. Because you get to Foolish Burial a monster, and this card can get over anything. This card's awesome. We'll go over that last because I like it so much, but it sucks that you do have to play this, but it's also like, yeah, you don't, at least it's like it doesn't have to be destroyed by battle. That makes a huge, difference. Here's the new ritual spell, Ravenous Vandread. This card can be used to ritual summon any Vandread ritual monster. Unfortunate because you can't have pre-prep in this deck, which you would always want to, of course, if you can, but obviously you can't. Special summon 1 Vandread monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard in face-down defense position. Then ritual summon 1 Vandread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard by tributing monsters from your field, including the summon monster, whose level equals or exceeds. So, I feel like they kind of gypped. Is that the right word to use? Like, this should be an 8 then. Like, you only have to special summon 1 monster. Now, of course, you're going to be special summoning this because you get to add another spell. Being able to summon from the deck is obviously very good, and I'm assuming not all of these are 8s. And, yeah, so this should at least be a 7. I just feel like they're like, hey, come on, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure this ritual archetype needs a lot more help. Like, it's just, if this was an 8, this would not be OP, right? But nonetheless, it's a good ritual spell. It definitely helps circumvent the horrible nature and the minusing of, your Vandread monsters. Even though this adds 2, which is pretty cool. Because you get to add a ritual spell, and then hopefully like one of these spells like searches a monster, meaning that this 1 card is equal to like a ritual summon, which is a good thing. But yeah, that just kind of sucks. This is Vandread Revenants. If this card in possession is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or card effect sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Very zombie-like, right? A Vandread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains this effect. Oh, well, okay. Once per turn, quick effect. You can target one special summon monster your opponent controls, banish it. This will obviously also be a great target for this. So there's, I mean, yeah, that's. I actually like the idea of like monsters being able to use themselves to like gain effects. Hopefully, all of them have that, which would be really neat. I like this card. At least as a one of everything, because everything becomes in play because of this card. Really. If this card, okay, so this is Vendread Hound Horde. Excuse me. If this card is in your graveyard, you can discard one Vendread monster, special on this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains the following effect. You can only use each of the preceding effects of this card once per turn. Target one spell and trap your opponent controls, destroy it. Again, awesome. I love, again, the Rika stuff, and this, great. Giving old archetypes that aren't good, like good cards, is great. They don't have to break the meta. Not everything has to be rogue tier or tier 2 or whatever. Just make good cards and people will be happy. I like to play really bad decks, and I'm pretty happy so far about what this is. I can't be mad because it doesn't change it and make it meta warping. Vendread Striges. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you reveal one Vendread card in your hand. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains the following effect. After damage calculation, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can draw one card, then discard. Now, that would kind of stink, but all of these cards, like literally all of them have effects when sent to the graveyard, so actually this card's pretty good, and probably like a must include. So, I mean, this actually does make a little bit... See, that's the thing, like this card, like this should be an 8, but you're probably going to try to ritual summon with like a few of these cards. It's kind of cool being able to like put so much resources into one card. I know that's not like great, but I think having like a super buffed up boss monster is always like a cool thing. Just like ideologically. I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but like as a concept, it's cool. If this card's in your graveyard, you can banish one other zombie monster from your graveyard, especially on this card, banish one leaves the field. This one's really good. That effect is obviously very easy to trigger. It can't be targeted. Meh. I mean, yeah, that's always cool, but being able to like having to do this much just to, well, it's easy. So I mean, you're gonna be able to like put this in the graveyard fairly easily with like Unizombie and all that kind of stuff. So all right. Vandread Anima, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Vandread monsters, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this term except zombie monsters. A Vandread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains the following effects. Banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. Meh. Like, that's just... No, you're not gonna... That's just... I mean, that's a good effect, but I wouldn't want to, like... Seeing this in your opening hand would just be, like, so, like, ugh. You know? Okay, let's go to the rituals, see if any of the other ones are good. This is Avendred Executor. This card becomes... this becomes Slayer. This is intense. This is intense. Because this is very important. Your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects except this card. If this card's ritual summon is destroyed by battle or destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it's in his owner's monster zone, you can add one Vendread card from your deck to your hand. I feel like it's kind of strictly worse because this searches too. Like, sending these to the graveyard gives you a tremendous amount of advantage, so I don't really know why this, like, replaces it. It's a bigger monster, sure. I mean, the cool thing is, yes, it searches a Vendread card, so it kind of, like... You get either of the two sides of this, which is kind of nice, but... I don't know. That's not, like, a huge upgrade, in my opinion. Other than being a bigger body, which maybe does make a huge difference. This is Vendread Battlelord. What a great name. Okay, you can banish one Vendread card from your graveyard and declare one type of card. For the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects of that type. I wish that said your opponent couldn't respond to it. I know that's kind of crazy, but yeah. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send one Vendread monster from your deck to your graveyard. Which does this. But I feel like this card is just better. This is just a much better version. I'm sure this probably came out like after this, which is pretty neat. So yeah, I mean, you gotta appreciate this card. It's pretty good. This is Vandread Chimera. When a card or effect is activated that would destroy a card on the field, you can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card is tributed or banished for a ritual summon, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. I mean, your opponent would have to... Well, at least here's the thing: is like your opponent's gonna have to deal with this. Like, obviously, like you're negating these cards, like, because I'm pretty sure like destroyed by like battle too. It just says destroy a card on the field. It's very. I wish it was 3,000 attack. I feel like that'd be a lot better. It's only level 5, so you can usually only have to use one monster for the ritual summon, I guess. At least when it comes to the new card, which is pretty neat. I'm not sure. It's just kind of bleh. Cards today do much more than this, I guess, is really the final part of like what I'll say on that. Okay, so this is another ritual. This can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. It's nice. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, or send one Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard, whose level equaled the level of the ritual monster. The ritual summon monster is destroyed during the end phase of the next turn. Still, it's a foolish burial. That becomes instantly better, meaning that you're probably going to be able to put 2 rituals on the field with this one card, right? Now, maybe you try to mix in Drytrons into this. I don't know, because you'd have to really like. It doesn't seem easy so far to get these rituals in your hand, but I guess you'll have to see. Another ritual spell. Okay, you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, and/or banish zombie monster from your graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. If a Avendred Slayer you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Again, all of these are like good ritual spells. It's not just like you have to tribute them from your hand. There's definitely alternate summoning conditions for this deck, which makes it at all playable, really. Okay, this is a quick play spell. Vendread Charge. Send one zombie monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, especially when one Vendread monster from your deck. I don't really know why he'd want to, like this is a quick play spell, but I'll take it. Which is great, because it definitely triggers these effects. So this is a good card. This is a continuous spell. Vendread Nightmare. Once per turn, you contribute one or more Vendread monsters from your hand or field, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Oh, you control, excuse me. Increase its level by the number of monsters tributed until the end of this turn. And then once you apparently when you destroy an opponent's monster by battle, gain 1,000. I mean, I guess if you're triggering some effects, like when they're sent to the graveyard, right? And a lot of these are good in the graveyard, like special summoning themselves. So I mean that kind of works. Although I don't know if it does enough. I don't think it does enough, to be honest with you. Okay, here's the field spell. You can discard one card, add one Vendread monster from your deck to the hand. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. When your Vendread monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish one Vendread monster from your graveyard. It can attack an opponent's monster again in a row. Sucks that it says monster and just can't attack again. I feel like that's overly restrictive, but considering all of these, when they're sent to the graveyard, have great effects, like, yeah, it all works together. Vendread Reunion. Reveal one... Oh... Yeah, I'm good off of this. It's just too slow. I don't even want to read all of it. You have to reveal a ritual monster. Like, yeah, the duel's over by then, right? Okay, this is Vendread Revolution. Discard one card, then target one Vendread monster and one ritual spell in your graveyard. Special summon that monster in defense position. And if you do, add that ritual spell to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 5 of your banished zombie monsters, shuffle them into the deck, then draw one card. This is a good effect, but it might be a tinge too slow. If there was a way to just set it from the deck, well, this one searches them. I don't know. I mean, you're definitely setting yourself up. I don't know if it's worth searching, though. I feel like these other cards are probably a little better. That's on the fence, right? Okay, Vendread Reorigin. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls that has a level. Tribute it, and if you do, that's pretty interesting. Special summon one Vendread token with the level equal to the tributed monster's original level. While the token special summoned by this effect is on the field, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except Vendread monsters. Which is neat, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's just zombie monsters, so you can use it for that. Tributing your opponent's monster is pretty good. So this is one that you would definitely search this out over this or this, right? 100% of the time. This is actually a decent card. Tributing an opponent's monster is one of the best forms of removal. Okay, this is Vendread Daybreak. If your opponent controls more cards than you do, I mean, I'm already kind of out on this. Choose one ritual summon Vendread monster you control and destroy all cards on the field except the chosen monster. I guess, like, your opponent you have to control more cards than you do. It can't attack directly. It's like it's a way harder version of that Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl card that destroys all the cards on the field or that your opponent controls. Your opponent has to control 3 cards. Like, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but like when I use cards, I want to be able to use them no matter what. Like, I feel like that's what the mark of a good card, or at least like 90% of the time, and I'm not sure that's always going to be the case. So I'm out on this one. I feel like I'm investing. Okay, Avendred Savior. So this card I love, man. This name becomes Slayer while on the field. Yo, that's super nuts, because I'm pretty sure... Yeah, if this card is... Wow, that's super... This card is so good. You can only use each of the following effects. You can target one Vendread card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. First of all, that's insane. And you can use each of these during damage calculation. If this card battles an opponent's monster quick effect, you can send one zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. That opponent monster loses attack equal to the level that monster set times 200. You can Foolish Burial this card, and your opponent loses 1200 attack. Like, this card's getting over a lot of things. It's a lot of cards. You can send more stuff. Like, you can send the Ritual monster, and that's 8, and then you can Ritual summon it from the graveyard. Always sick, right? With this one, too, you can special summon from the graveyard. So, this really brings it all together. This is one of the most underrated Link monsters in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! No debating. So, I don't know if this card... Like, the archetype is, like, playable now, and I love that. Maybe you guys disagree. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, it's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.